Okay, back on track. Boot camp is back. Back on track with fitness. I'm so excited to be on today again to talk to you guys and bring you some amazing stuff. I think this has been just an awesome series in general, and I think today's going to be no exception, right? So, welcome back to the space, everyone. Really an opportunity where we get to pour into other women and fill their cups so they can really challenge themselves and their lives and their business, their dreams, your everything. I'm Amanda Fludd. I'm a psychotherapist, mindset coach to minority women in business and the founder of this community. I just love creating spaces to support the emotional and professional growth of women. And this series, it's been mind blowing for me. I've met like so many great, amazing women so far. And today is no exception to that. And I think what's most important is we get to create these connections, these conversations and these connections that's needed in our community, right? And needed because it's topics that we need to talk about, but we may not always have the ability to do that, right? Either because we don't know what to ask, we don't even know it's our experience, or we don't have people to talk to, or we're not able to share space with each other. Right. So far, we've looked at trauma, your intentions, self-care, self-love, finances, and today we're getting back on track with fitness. And to help me with that is the beautiful Miss Ariel Marrero. So hello, ma'am, and welcome to the community.
Thank you. I was just telling you, I'm so excited and honored to be here and to have found this community as well. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to share about something I'm deeply passionate about and dive into getting back on track and supporting in any way that I can.
Oh, I love it. Right. And what's super cool that I just learned is like she is across the world, y'all. So here we are in Eastern Standard Time. And I don't even know what time zone she's in, but she's over in Bali. And what's so dope, right? And to me, like I'm excited about that because one, is somewhere that I wanted to go. Two, I've always had this idea that I wanted to have like global conversations. Like, so for this is like universe, like, yes, here you go, girl.
Yes.
And three, I think we all should go to Bali. So now we know somebody there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's morning here. It's exactly 12 hours ahead of Eastern. And for anyone listening, definitely recommend coming to Bali. It's beautiful island, but also just mentally, spiritually, self-care. It has so much of that energy here. So definitely if I'm still here or in the future, reach out and I would be happy to share.
All about it. I was telling her we have to have her back to just have a conversation about how you even get there. And I'm sure that takes a lot of just like courage to just go somewhere brand new and decide like, all right, I'm gonna live there and I'm gonna live there for a while. Right. And across the world. So because she's local from Jersey. So it's just like, wow. You know. So we've got to talk about that. But for now, tell us what you do and why that work is so important to you.
Yeah. So I am a certified strength specialist. So I work with women to build strength, to feel stronger in their bodies. And I'm also a certified mastery method coach. So basically, that has everything to do with our inner world. So our mindset, our emotional fitness, somatics, right? Our body, how we process certain things in our body and the way that shows up, behavioral, and the unconscious. And the reason, what kind of drew me to both of these industries and these areas of work is I've always been passionate about fitness and well-being and feeling our best in the world, right? But I wanted to be able to support people beyond the surface level. And I'm all here for the physical transformation, the, maybe wanting to lose weight, building strength, feeling healthy, and I want to get to the root, right? And support people with getting to the root of maybe why fitness has felt like such a challenge, or prioritizing their health has been something that they've consistently put to the back burner, right? Like what is really underneath all of that? And so that's what really lights me up. is being able to see women stepping into their power more, taking the driver's seat and feeling and kicking ass doing it. So yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
here
I'm
to
excited. All right.
do.
Because you might have thought we were just talking about fitness today, honey, but ooh, child, y'all better hit some likes if you are ready to get back into the driver's seat, take charge of your power. Woo! Because that's what it's all about. And
Yes.
I think that it can feel very surface, the reasons why we don't do things, but this
Right.
is just awesome to think about it on a deeper level, right? Fitness and healthy life choices in general is something I know we struggle with as a community. And personally, I think that struggle is deeply connected to how we hold hurt in our body, that pain, or even just the stress of life, right? It really works against our natural restoration process, right? Our natural equilibrium, and it throws us off course. But my question to you, how do we know that we're off course? And when you think about, like fitness and strength and this whole other level of it, what are some signs that we may be off track?
Yeah. And the great thing about this and the beautiful thing about our bodies is it's so intelligent
Oh, yeah.
and it will tell you.
Yes. You got
Like
to slow down and listen, but it speaks. Yes.
it speaks and exactly what you said. It speaks and we have to learn to listen and attune ourselves to what it's actually saying before we can't deny it, right? That's when we get to that tipping point of something really traumatic and dramatic happening to our bodies. We injure ourselves, we get hit with a chronic illness or something like that. Then it's like, okay, now I'm going to take it seriously. Now I have to wake up. But the key and what I really want, to support women with is let's not get to that breaking point, right? Like let's know our signs early on, and it's going to be unique to each individual, right? The way our body respond, just like you said, the way we respond to stress, the way we hold it, the way it shows up in our bodies, in our behaviors even, right? So it's going to be unique to everyone, but what I would say and encourage is start tuning in, start listening, and start paying attention to what maybe some of your signs of being off track might be. Maybe you start to feel a little bit more anxious. Maybe you can notice that you're self-soothing in certain areas, right? Maybe, you have the extra glass of wine at the end of the night, or, whatever that might be. Some other signs of being off track. You might feel just a little bit more tired or lethargic or unmotivated, or that normal zest isn't really there anymore, right? These are just some ideas, but some places you can start looking is behaviors, right? In the body, right? How is that actually physically feeling, and emotionally, right? Are you feeling, like I said, a little more stressed, a little more anxious, or anything like that? And those can start to be some of your little trigger warnings of, all right, maybe it's time to do a self check-in. Where am I at with my health? Where am I at with my fitness? Where am I at with my emotional well-being? Is there something that I can tend to here?
And I love that. And I love like the everyday part of it too, even just in terms of what are you doing that may be telling you that maybe something is off, like having that glass of wine, right? Because how many of us at the end of the day that were like, I'm feeling kind of whatever today. So let me pour that glass or whatever, right? Or like my advice, let me stop and get a bag of potato chips. Right?
These are all such common self-soothing behaviors, and it's often villainized, or even it's villainized, and then we see it in media, right? We see it in the movies. The girl gets broken up with by her boyfriend, she's face deep in a tub of ice cream, right? We're taught this, right? You're sad, go get some Ben and Jerry's and eat the tub of ice cream. But when you start noticing it and just slowing it down, you can see it, and it can be in Netflix binging, it can be in going on social media, right? These are all self-soothing things that we do, but they're almost like they're an identifier of maybe there's something I can look under the hood. What's going on here? What am I
Right. It's like a little like smoke alarm or like a little distress signal that something else is going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, for women of color, why is this especially important, this idea of how we take care of ourselves and really paying attention and looking to what's going on?
Yeah. So I feel a lot towards this question, but also, on just very high level, there was a study released by the CDC that the highest prevalence of physical inactivity was in Hispanics, number one, and Blacks, number two. And we know through research that physical activity promotes longevity and vitality of life, reduces the risk of obesity, chronic illnesses, helps prevent injury, helps you sleep better, feel better, right? Without regular activity, our body loses strength, it loses stamina, and our ability to function properly and show up in the world. So why is this especially important for women of color? Because our lives literally depend on it. And future generations and the quality of their life depends on the examples that we get to set now. And we get to be a part of that reframing and that re-narrative and changing some of those statistics.
Such a big deal because they're significant statistics, right? And like it is powerful when you think about it, because it's like it's taken from your life, right? And are you okay with doing the same things that shorten your life, right? That positions you to have all these problems, right? Health problems, heart disease, high blood pressure. Like people of color, we've got like every single thing. Right? Like when I go to the doctor and they're like, what's your family history of X, Y, and Z? I'm like, we've got all the Black diseases. Like it's there, right? But when you think it through, it means that we're selling ourselves short and like our future generations short, right? So we've got to start thinking about how do we change those statistics to have a great life. Part of having this great, authentic, brilliant, beautiful life that we all talk about, part of that is really taking care of ourselves and taking these statistics and taking just how we feel serious.
Yeah. And I think it's easy for so many of us to say, well, yeah, I prioritize my health. Yeah, of course it's important to me. But look at the way your life is actually set up. Where do you schedule the time? What becomes that your calendar will show you what is a priority for you. And so it is really about, like we started this conversation, I think when you get in the conversation about fitness and all of these things, it can get this surface level, superficial entry point, but much deeper than that is flipping that narrative beyond, right? And I'm very big on Instagram as well. And so there was this audio going around where it was like, we grew up in a generation or was raised by a generation of women who worked out to be skinny, right? And that was the quo. And I can remember my mom like following whatever she was doing. And she was always trying to shrink herself and change, right? To be smaller. And it's just now, and research around strength training is pretty newly developed for general population within the last 20 years, that working out, strength training is for health, right? It is to feel stronger. It's not to be in a smaller body. It's not to take up less space. It's actually for you to feel empowered to use your body as a vessel to take up space in the world, in whatever your passion is. It's like you want to feel good in your body doing it, and in your presence and in your confidence. It's all layers within that.
Those are the part that's making me tingle. And I'm taking notes, as y'all should be. Okay, using your body to take up space. And I love that, because I think we disconnect from that because we don't like to notice what's going on in our body, what it feels and how it's hurting and what it needs. And it's easier to think about other ways to take up space, right? Like how big my business needs to be, how big my pockets needs to be, how far I need to push my career, how many degrees I have, all of that stuff, right? But
Yeah.
are you using your whole self to take up space? And that might mean taking a look at your physical self as
Yeah,
well, take up space.
exactly. And to support all of those things, which I love, and I know the women in this space probably love too, as entrepreneurs and businesswomen, we have big ambitions and things that we want to do in the world. We can't do that if we're not taken care of. If we're
Mm,
sick, if we have
we're sick,
injury, if we have
right?
illness, right? We will be stopped, right?
Woo,
It will stagnate our mission, right? Our bigger calling if we
mm,
physically can't do it. So it's sometimes putting it in that framework too is supportive for ambitious entrepreneurial women. It's like, how long do I want to be in this game? I want to be in this game for life. I'm here to contribute a lifetime of gifts. So I got to support my physical body, which allows me to be here and do that. So how can I do that? Right. So I find that that framework can be helpful with ambitious women in particular.
yes, because we all want to be in this game forever, honey, or at least long
Yeah.
enough and well enough, right? And at least to have done
Right,
our
right.
best with it, right? And just love it again. Ooh, that's where I am, because it's your vessel that carries the vision, carries the dream, carries the goal. So what are you doing to take care of that, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned the strength training part of this, right? So how does like strength fit into this, and why is that important, and what might that look like for us?
Yeah. Yeah. Strength training is really anything, or resistance training is anything that is applying a resistance to the body. And what do we know about resistance, even in the mindset world, is on the other side is growth.
Okay, but we fight it though. We fight it.
But we push through the resistance to get
Yeah.
that growth, to get to that other side of that challenge, right? So anything that gives resistance, this could be with weights, this could be with resistance bands, this could even be your body weight, depending on where you're at in your journey and what you're comfortable with, what you have access to. You can do strength training in your living room with your body weight, or you can get a couple of bands or something like that. So yeah, so for years and decades, a lot of the research went into cardiovascular fitness and health. And strength training was seen as something that was for athletes or for bodybuilders, right? It wasn't seen as something as priority for the general population and overall health. So a lot of research didn't get poured into it. And so we didn't see it in advertisement and media and all of these things. It was all, running and, getting skinny, like I said. And there's
It
nothing
wasn't like
running is
normalized as like a everybody thing that we all need this.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly. It wasn't normalized. It's perfect wording. So now it's starting to be normalized and the research is coming out to support it. And we see now that strength training actually is the number one method for if your physical goal is weight loss and or fat loss or something like that. It is the number one method for that. And it's the number one way that you can support optimal just health and functioning of your body and cognitively too. So it's what I want to say from this message is that it is for everyone, right? So if you feel intimidated by strength training or even that verbiage, it is for everyone and everyone can do it. And there's a way to start and kind of get your toes wet and then slowly build up. And my biased opinion is it's one of the most empowering forms of exercise that you could do because you're just like, you're lifting the barbell up. You're like, hell yeah, I can conquer the world after this. And you surprise yourself and you show yourself what you're capable of. So that's more of my biased opinion, but yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it because it's a new way of thinking. And again, thinking about just empowering our bodies. It's a way to strengthen our bodies so we can really empower ourselves to kind of reach our goals and the places that we want to go. Which is just like a whole different way to think about it. And I love that you're just sharing all of this um, with us, right? And we've talked about this a little bit in terms of like our own resistance to working out, right?
Mhm.
Right? And thinking about even our own strength and our bodies, right? I think we're really good at finding ways to justify why we shouldn't do things. I see it in business, I see it as a therapist, and I think it applies in this conversation as well. Um,
Mhm.
do you see our ability to be consistent or how we treat ourselves around that as a mindset issue? And, any little thoughts on that that you could share?
Yeah, I 100% see it as a mindset thing. I think at times, sometimes there are very practical things that you can do to optimize for consistency or workshop your schedule, right? There's strategical things that can be played with, of course.
Right.
But I think largely it is related to mindset and more of the psychological reasons behind why consistency feels hard for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I think, just to kind of frame the conversation first before, and then I'll give three psychological reasons that I have found
Mhm.
in the work that I've done with women. So one is that framework, just like you said in the beginning, where it's like you don't really want to do it, or just feeling resistance towards it. And I think some of that goes back into how we've been conditioned to view fitness and working out, right? It's a punishment.
The
I
stories we
have
tell
to
ourselves
do
that
it.
we've heard. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I have to do it, or I need to make up for that thing that I ate this
It's
weekend,
not an
right?
enjoyable thing, right? It's not something
Yeah,
we do for fun, right?
right. Which fitness should be fun. It is so fun to me, but I've built that story, right? I've rewired that narrative for myself. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I don't want to work out," I'm like, "Really? I'm pumped to go work out right now."
I'm all about it. You're missing out.
But it made me realize that, okay, there's a story to be questioned there, or like there's a narrative to kind of poke holes in, or an opportunity to reframe. So there's that. So if you're someone who always feels that way towards exercise, of like, it's a punishment, I have to do this thing, start there, right? Maybe picking holes of that story and reframing that for yourself.
Love
Something I
that.
get to do, even that simple switch of, I get to move my body today, and
Right.
having that as just a daily practice. If you
Right.
feel, oh, I was going to go for that walk during my lunch break, and you're like, I should just stay and bang this out or whatever.
Right. I get to empower my body today, right? Moving me helps to move the goal, right? Moves me to
Yeah,
abundance, like whatever that is.
I love that. Exactly. So that quick, a little mantra, something to just quick start that reframing. And then, so going back to the original question of, do I see this as a mindset thing? There are three psychological or mindset things that I've seen people hit against when they feel like staying on track or consistency is hard. And one of them is an all or nothing mentality. Have you heard of, or all or nothing thinking, or polarized
Yeah,
thinking?
right. There's no middle. It's either I do it or I don't, right? I get up
Yeah,
today or I won't.
right.
Or I didn't do it today, so I'm just not gonna do it for the month.
Exactly. Or it's like, exactly. And it's, I'm either on track or I'm off track.
Right.
Right? Even using that language, or I'm healthy right now, I'm eating all the right foods, I'm exercising, or I'm just totally off the wagon, right?
I'm at
There's
my
no,
best weight ever, or I'm just a mess.
yeah, yeah. And we see that with a lot of things
I
too,
do.
is this or that. And we don't leave space for the gray, but a lot of the times it's gray, right?
It
Especially
is.
when you're building it up and things are going, you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days.
Right,
And it's
right. That's that flow flexibility space, right? And that's the place that takes away the angst and the stress of it if we can figure out how to hang out there a little bit better.
absolutely, absolutely. And giving permission for that gray, and it not needing to be perfect all in right away. So that's the first one. And then the second one is this idea that we think beating ourselves up about it is actually going to help us. So we have this all or nothing thinking. we get off track, right? Or we eat that bowl of ice cream, or we skip our workout that day, and then we think, "God, I did it again. Why do you keep doing this?" Right? Or,
Could you?
whatever that, yeah, whatever
Yeah.
that inner dialogue or inner critic sounds like,
Mhm.
I think that like beating ourselves up is going to make us change and get us to do something different. But I'll share from my personal experience. When I do that, I feel worse, right?
Exactly.
I feel,
Right. You feel bad. You feel guilty.
yeah,
It like takes the air out of the room and you feel more sad about it, right? And if it's
right,
a conversation that doesn't make you feel good, that already lets you know it's not an empowering one, right?
exactly. So how can we flip that inner dialogue to be a more empowering dialogue? And it can just be as simple as, today wasn't so hot. Tomorrow I'm going to do better. Boom. And you can just move on from that. And you can, self-assess and ask questions of, what didn't work for me today? What made it challenging? How can I minimize them? Right? You can get practical with it as well. And then the last one is one that takes a lot of radical self-honesty and inquiry, but I do see it a lot. And sometimes we don't realize that this is here. But sometimes there is an unconscious underlying belief around, I don't actually think I can do it.
Mm,
Or
mm.
I don't actually believe that I'm worthy of a healthy, strong body.
Right. Right.
And it sounds counterintuitive because when I first will propose this to people, they're like, no, Ariel, of course I
Of
believe.
course. Yeah, I love me. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I get it. And slow it down and really ask yourself that question, because we said this in the beginning. You can say that I believe I'm worthy of a healthy body. You can say that I do believe in myself. I do believe I can do it. But if you look at your actions, if you look at the way your life is scheduled out, your priorities, all the things, what is that evidence showing you? And if
Mm,
it's showing you to the contrary, it's just an opportunity to be like, okay, something's out of alignment. I get to look
mm.
at this a little deeper.
Right. Your actions aren't aligned with that idea that it's okay, right? It's actually telling you some part of you doesn't believe that. And like,
Yeah.
that's your truth. That
Yeah.
part is your truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, as businesswomen, entrepreneurs, mothers, caregivers, if we have identities so wrapped up in giving, in people pleasing, in being those things for others, we can easily put ourselves to the back burner. We can easily minimize our needs because
Right.
we're so used to being that. And it
Mm.
takes practice to be like, I get to come first too, before my business, before, whatever. Because when my cup is full, everything else runneth over. Right. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So much to think about. And I like the the space around that. And I think it's one to sit with where we may not be intentionally not prioritizing ourselves, right? But a little bit of what we're conditioned to, our own thoughts of just like being there for everybody else, which makes sense. You want to do that, but sometimes we get so wrapped up in that, but that's where we lose self and that connection to self.
Yeah.
And it shows up. It shows up in how you treat yourself. Like we talked about self-love, we talked about self-care. And even in this aspect of taking care of this physical body, this physical vessel that you have. So don't beat up on yourself if you're realizing this is you, because it could just be, again, that you're being a good human and loving on everybody else. I think we're just asking you to create space to love on you too.
Absolutely. And we honor those parts of ourselves that
Yeah.
want to be there for everyone. They're beautiful. We're not shaming them. We're not taking them away either. It's just noticing if it is getting in the way of health or those types of goals, right? It's like, can we find a middle ground? Having that conversation with that part of you, can we find a middle ground here where, yes, I get to be there for the people that I love, and I get to be there for myself too.
Lovely. So as and you've given us so much to think about, right? But if we can come back to maybe just like one concrete thing that we could do to be consistent and integrate more fitness into our life, or more strength-based fitness into our life, like what might that look like?
Yeah. Very practically, it can really look so simple. It can be, I'm gonna go for a 30-minute walk at my lunch break. And that being less about, right, it's breaking out of that perfectionist of I gotta go to the gym and have that going from 0 to 100, right? I'm gonna start working out 3 times a week, and I'm gonna go to the gym, and I'm gonna get a trainer, then I'm gonna eat healthy, versus I'm gonna do a 30-minute walk 3 times this week during my lunch break. And
Right.
by
Don't go all crazy. That goes back to that all or nothing thing we talked about, right? Like,
right,
girl, you haven't even been walking. You're trying to
right.
go climb mountains.
Exactly. And by doing that, you're practicing consistency, right? You're practicing the art of showing up for yourself consistently, and you build from there, right? So if I were to say practical things, it's pick one thing, start really small, lower the barrier to entry, and be consistent with that for 2-3 weeks, and then stack those habits, stack those, whatever it is that you're wanting to do.
I love that, right? And maybe pair it with something that kind of works already, like to help you, right? So like if getting up is hard, maybe I gotta drop my kids off every day. Like after I drop them off, I could walk around the block, right? Because I'm already out, right?
Yeah.
Or if it's something else that you already naturally do, maybe that's where you build it in. So you give yourself, a little more padding, like know yourself. And I think it's about setting yourself up for success, as opposed to like piling on these really high, outrageous expectations that then when we don't make it, right, then we come back to that place of like beating ourselves up, like maybe I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, right? As opposed to you just didn't give yourself space to do it in a way that works for you.
Totally. I love that. And I think so many of us can get caught in like a copy paste method of like, I see her doing that, so this is what I should do. But just like you said, actually look at what works for you in your life. This is your health, fitness, lifestyle. So you get to be the creator. You get to make the rules, decide what it looks like, but you got to decide. But it gets to look how you want it to look. If she's waking up at 5 a.m. and doing her walk, you don't need to do that. You do not need to do that. As long as the things get done.
Right. Maybe you're an evening person. Go in the afternoon. That's okay.
Yes. So choosing things that actually align with you and your lifestyle is another really big thing too. So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Awesome. Listen, you've given us all kind of stuff to work with today. And really, y'all need to go back and write it down. Because it's so much stuff, right? But in terms of like your work and what you're working on in your business, what are some things, what's going on for you that you can share?
So right now I'm running a 30-day Kickstart challenge. We're about halfway through. And so this has been really exciting. It is a community of women doing this challenge together, and really about getting back into the groove of things. But also I do a lot of live trainings, kind of like this, but diving into these topics a lot deeper and teaching on them as well, and then giving some baseline education around strength training, around nutrition and things like that. And so I'll be running that at least one more time in 2022. So I have a wait list created that if people are interested and want more information around that, they can absolutely join the wait list, and I'll be happy to have that conversation. And then I'm also opening up spaces for a larger group container, larger meaning longer. And so the space is being held for a longer amount of time, and it is deeper work. So there's that, my Level Up group program and one-to-one spaces as well, where we get into this stuff, but a lot deeper, right? So 30 days is beautiful. It's a great starting place,
Right.
great to get your toes wet and start feeling that energy again. But if you really want to integrate and go deeper, some of these other containers might be a better fit for you as well.
Yeah.
And they're total mind-body transformation. So we're not just looking at the body, we're looking at some of those deeper layers. So that you can create long-term, lifetime results and sustainability.
Which is really what it comes down to, because so much of us get stuck like on and off, on and off, on and off, right? And I think that the whole heart of our conversation today is like you can't separate your mind from the body. They both have to work together. So it sounds like a phenomenal way to work on yourself, and not just fitness, but like a lifestyle and like your survival and your whole being. So so good stuff. We'll definitely post all your social contact information, but if you could share it as well, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm all on Instagram, Ariel, Ariel.Marr, Marr. On there, I have a link to a few freebies. So I also do a free weekly workout subscription. So I send a workout every Wednesday right to your inbox, and a fit tip for the day. And I have a freebie Lift Smarter guide. So this guide is great if you are new to strength training, really at any level, because these principles will always apply, but great if you are just starting with strength training and want to know, what should I even be focusing on? What's important here? There's a free guide that you can access there too.
It's like a good framework.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Let's see. And one last piece of advice or encouragement for the next woman listening who might be struggling in this area.
Yeah. I would say that change is not linear. And every time you feel like you've fallen off track, you're not starting over. You are coming back a wiser and more resilient version of yourself. And so the only questions that matter at that point is, what did I learn? What can I improve? And how can I set myself up for better success? That's it. And then just move forward from there. Take that one step.
Be still my beating heart. Just magical. That is just like a space of such compassion and forgiveness and curiosity. And it's just a very empowering place to be in. So that's beautiful words of encouragement. Wow. Okay, so as we kind of wrap here, for those of you listening, if you could please drop one word that's sitting with you after this whole conversation. And while you do that, I'm gonna ask Ariel, what's a word that's like bubbling up for you
right now?
Yes, right now.
I'm feeling excited and expansive, I would say. Expansive is the word. I'm realizing in having this conversation too how lit up I get talking about these things. And so, again, just being very grateful for the opportunity to share, because I think when you're put in these situations and you're able to do, you realize you're like, this is it, right? And it confirms like your soul mission and why you're here. So that's how I'm feeling right now.
Oh, that's just beautiful. And I am glad that I get to witness piece of that, because I feel that coming across in how you talk about it and how excited you are to really kind of serve and help those on the other side too, right? And it's so cool to be in that space and to sit or stand in comfort and be able to talk about that and express that. And it definitely comes across in how you spoke today. So thank you so much for pouring out a little bit of you.
Yes, thank you so much for, again, allowing for it, and for being part of the space. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
just amazing. And one of the words I see there from the folks in the community is growth. So that's
Mm,
cool. Um, what kind of sits with me is coming back to home. And I think it's how you explain the encouragement piece before, where it's like, it's okay to come back, right? And even think about this in the sense of how comfortable we get where we are, and we don't like to move from there. But maybe it's
mm,
about going out to see whatever happens, and even if you fall off or mess up or whatever, right? There's still so much learning that happens there, and you get to come back to you. That doesn't go anywhere, but you come back to you stronger, more whole, more confident, with so much more information. And when you go back out again, like you're one step the wiser, right? So
mhm.
for me, just that word is just like coming back to home.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
That's powerful. Yeah.
So I think maybe that's what I needed today, honey. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much. I love doing this. So thank you.
Oh, such a pleasure. And it's been awesome. So thank you again for holding space with us today. And everyone, if you're listening, wherever you're listening, make sure you like this conversation, you like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And we will share her information so you guys can go follow too. And I always say it's good to just show support, right? Even if it's like, I'm not ready for this right now, at least if you save her information, you never know when you might be. And when
Mhm.
when you like things, or you share things with other people, or you tag them in things, you never know, it might be something that's right on time for them, right? So don't be afraid to support other people just by doing those things as well, right? So make sure to do that, you guys. And for those of you in the Mindset and Motivation community, y'all have the swag bag coming up. Giveaway concludes tomorrow. We've got one more night of conversation, and then we get to give away what's in the goodie bar, honey. And she has contributed to the bag too. Thank you so much for that. And it's an entry into her 30-day Kickstart challenge. So, I mean, again, if you love this vibe that you're getting from her now, honey, imagine what's going to be like when you're working with her, okay? And then you get a chance to maybe work with her. So come on, y'all.
Yes.
Get it
Yes.
together and let's go.
Amazing.
We have so much to for us go to sleep on, but for wherever you are, you may be waking up on a word. So
Yeah. I'm ready to take on the day after this. I'm like, I'm going.
you're ready to go. I'm ready to
Fired
just
up.
like go to sleep with a smile. Two parts
Oh,
of two different ends of the world, but still
yeah.
feeling great, right? And that's a lot of positive energy connecting us. So I'm really
Absolutely.
grateful for that. Really grateful for you. Thank you again so much for joining us, and for everyone listening. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.